follow rules in all honesty, but now let's talk about it.
I can milk you.
Hi, I'm Ty, and y'all really wanted those liminal photos. And I will deliver, but first, I'm gonna do something a little different. In my last liminal space video, I went into what they were, what they represented, and then I went into taking my own pictures. And that was the original plan for this video, but I decided not to. After doing more research and reading a lot of your guys' comments, bringing attention things that I never would have even thought of, I decided that that would be better off as its own separate video. So this video will be me taking more photos and all that fun stuff, and my next video will be my final explanation of what liminal photos are. I hope you enjoy, and thank you for your support.
I took off the helmet because I actually need to see. Also, I'm wearing this mask for the same reason why I wear the TV. I like my privacy and I want to keep my identity a secret. Which I only bring up because some people left some comments about it and I just thought it was funny. Shout out to the people that got mad at me for wearing the mask. So before we get started, let's do a quick recap. I lost the other photo. Transitional is places you barely remember, nostalgic is places you do remember, and uncanny is both but altered. More on that in a sec. Now, if you remember, there are rules to taking a liminal photo. Bad or perfect lighting, grain/noise, and the location must be in either very clean or just good condition. But I'm gonna add a couple more. First, absolutely zero signs of life. I don't know why I didn't think to add this rule, it's kind of obvious. There can't be any form of life, humans, animals, etc. Also, weirdly, cars, any kind of vehicle really, so don't have those in the photo either. So just the area itself, like a highway or a parking lot. Next, only one source of light. Obviously, if you're in like a bright building or it's during the day, you don't have to worry about this. But when taking a photo at night, only one source of light is required, especially if the light is behind the camera or from the camera flash itself. Now this next one I'm going to put a little question mark here at the end because it's just my personal preference, but no lens flare. I watched this fantastic liminal photography video while doing research, and I love the dude's photos, but the lens flare kind of ruined it for me. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it, which is why I'm not making it a concrete rule. And now to the part I'm most excited for, the new locations. But again, this is going to be more of an experiment, so I'm going to have a list of goals as well. The first location is going to be parks. Again, I'm going to visit some new ones, but I'm also going to go back to the ones I went to last time. Something really interesting that I saw in the comments a couple of times were people who said they got way more out of the snowy photos I took. So I'm going to go back and take the exact same photo, but without snow, and compare the two, and see if the snow adds, detracts, or does nothing to the photo. Now the next location is the one I'm most excited for. My friend and fellow YouTuber Afromity has some farmland, and after a visit, yeah, it's perfect. And that's where I'm going to be taking most of the photos this time, because well, these are the only two locations, and these two are more than enough for what I have planned. The first part is color experimentation. More specifically, can the color red work? The usual colors in a liminal photo are yellow, orange, green, and sometimes blue. So I'm going to try and see which colors work best and in what situation, and more importantly, can red work at all? The next thing I'm going to try is AI. I think it would just be interesting to see what it comes up with. I just think it would be interesting to see what it could come up with when given specific prompts. Next is Photoshop dreamcore. Thankfully, my editing and Photoshop skills have gotten way better since last video. And I didn't even know it until you guys said it in the comments, but uncanny or dreamcore, it's its own separate art style, and it's actually really interesting. And most, if not all, dreamcore-esque photos have a very scrapbook look to them, like an attic mixed with the sky. These could come out as absolute garbage, but I think it's worth a shot. Now the final experiment I'm cautiously excited about. In Alpha Oxtrot's video, which inspired me, he said adding a monster would make it a little bit better. I disagree. What makes a liminal photo special is that it's just a place, an area by itself. But I do want to test it. So when I get to an area that I think will work, I'm going to take 4 photos. One of the space by itself, then a picture of a monster in the foreground, a picture of a monster in the background, and finally one with a monster obscured or hiding. But I don't want to just edit a monster into the photo. No. I want the monsters to be physically present in the photos, so I bought some costumes. Now these don't look all that interesting by themselves, but they have this neat little mechanic where the mouth will open when you flex your jaw. I also got this Jeff the Killer mask. Now again, by itself, not all that interesting. But because it's so pale and the bloody lips, it stands out in darkness really well. And combined with this black morph suit I got, I think it'll look really good. So either these photos are going to look realistically creepy, or like 2 furries taking photos at 3 in the morning. So with all that out of the way, let's get into our first subject, which is dreamcore.
Like I said earlier, my Photoshop skills are subpar at best, but most of these images are actually way better with that kind of newbie look. And it looks like, for the most part, combining 2 images, or 2 random areas, like a hallway with flowers. Now the easiest ones to do are these cloudy sky images. So I'm going to take some pictures of windows and open doors to get a good canvas. It's pretty straightforward, so while I get to work on this, let's get into
I have a confession to make. I haven't been fully honest with you. I led you to believe that I was going to be taking these photos whilst making this video. That was a lie. I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my... Okay. Yeah, so I was actually planning on making this video a while ago. So I already went to all the locations and took all the photos months in advance. If you didn't know, I actually like to put little teasers and Easter eggs for future videos. And in my thank you for 1K video, for just a couple of seconds, you could actually see in the background the Jeff mask. And when was this video posted? Oh, 3 freaking months ago. My last 2 videos took way longer than I anticipated on top of me moving, so bear with me as I try and remember what happened. I remember it like it was just 3 months ago. Taking pictures exactly like the originals was actually a lot easier than I thought. I remembered roughly where I was standing, and it was definitely a lot easier since it wasn't negative 15 degrees. We tried all the costumes in a bunch of different areas, and in the moment, they looked pretty dang good. And in one of the parks, this natural fog started developing, so that was pretty cool. I'll get more into my thoughts later, but these were absolutely perfect conditions at the time, and the photos were even better. Hi. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this segment. There's a lot of stigma around AI, and for good reason.
Guys, I think we're stuck in a girls-only prison. We must escape right now. Oh, look, she's sleeping. Oh no, I'm so bad.
Also, I will not be showing any of these photos at the end of the video. The reason why I wanted to try this out is because I recently watched this video called I Asked AI to Show Me Hell, and it was haunting. And the deeper and more specific he got with his prompts, the more genuinely terrifying and kind of cool looking it became. So then I thought, what about liminal spaces? The way AI generating technology works is that you give it a prompt and it'll gather all different kinds of data, images, and descriptions to make a brand new original image. Thankfully, there's already a bunch of free AI generating technology websites because there's no way in heck I'm paying for this crap. So first, I'm just gonna type in liminal space and I get... Okay. I tried a couple more times, but for some reason it just keeps giving me this Victorian castle, I guess. Alright, now let's just try an empty office. Okay, so this site sucks. Alright, let's just try liminal space again. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Dang, these are actually pretty good. Man, look at that hallway, that's actually pretty neat. With a lot of AI, it has this kind of water brush look to it, with a lot of different moving parts, moving and connecting with each other. It's really off-putting. But with liminal spaces, it kind of works in their favor. I tried doing some dreamcore photos with some hallways with clouds in them, and they look pretty cool. But when I got more specific, that's when it really got interesting. Okay, not bad. What is that? I put empty, yellow, and airport, and these two look pretty dang good. The problem with this, and just AI in general, is that it just doesn't feel real. Like, not even a little bit. But that did kind of work with the dreamcore photos. The otherworldly feel and the weirdness of AI art, it just kind of went hand in hand with it. All in all, pretty interesting. This was perfect. So much land and forest, gravel roads, empty and unfinished cabins. We got some quick photos of the road while driving in, but the night cabin photos were easily the best. It didn't take too long to get dark and my lights were more than bright enough. This was where I really tested my theories, trying almost every color I could and maybe wearing the costumes a bit too long. The hardest part for me at least was figuring out the placement of the monster, so in some areas we ended up taking multiple pictures. These were easily my favorite batch of photos that I made, and my friend was way too nice letting me boss him around for a bit. I also ended up taking some pictures inside his house. A couple of the bedrooms were next to empty, plus this stairwell and the windows would make great dreamcore photos. I never would have guessed it, but apparently farms have an abundance of liminality. I'm gonna be honest, these turned out way better than I thought they would, but let's talk about dreamcore first. I stuck with all the indoor photos that I took, and after photoshopping them together, they turned out pretty dang well. To where I can say with full confidence that if you have next to no editing skills and you want to make photos like this, you absolutely can. And that's not a diss to the art style, if anything it's a compliment. The simplicity and scrapbook feel is perfect for beginners. All I really did was take some stock photos of cloudy skies and just mix them with windows and walls. So in terms of accessibility and the final results themselves, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. Don't know when I decided to rate these, but whatever. Now this next section is just gonna be purely biased on my part. When comparing these photos to their snowy counterparts, I'm gonna be honest, I really like the snowy ones more. Even if I remove my own personal nostalgia for like Christmas or something, I can't help but feel like the snow just adds so much more in terms of atmosphere. I never took any pictures during the day though, so my current thought is this. If you're gonna take photos at night, snow absolutely helps. The snow really helps the photo pop in a dark landscape. But if you're taking a picture during the day, summer is your best option, especially if there's a ton of grass. Because during the day, snow is just way too freaking bright. I do see this experiment as a success though, so I will be giving it 9 liminal points out of 13.
Nice job, team.
This was by far the funnest and most easy part to mess around with, because I can change the colors on site or in post, and I used next to every color. And first, I want to make it clear you don't have to change the color every time. Some areas are perfectly fine with their natural lighting. I just think it adds a little more. And still, the best colors to use are yellow, orange, and green. Every other color can only work under specific circumstances. Like how pink can only really be used in a kid's bedroom. Or how blue can only really be used in a swimming pool photo, which there is a lot of. But now to the biggest question. Can the color red have a liminal feel? And the answer I got was nothing. I just can't do the mental gymnastics to figure out how the heck red could work in a liminal photo. Like, I've seen tons of red liminal photos out there and they work, I don't know how. It's the only thing I really don't have an answer for. And it's so frustrating to me because literally everything else has made sense. But this. How does red work? Why am I spending so much time in this? Why did earlier in the video my hair made me look like Manny from Ice Age? Nothing makes sense. But I might have found one thing. Maybe. When I went to his house the first time, I had my phone and a couple of his lights, and that was it. So I took some early photos with what little I had as a way to sort of scout ahead until I brought my own equipment. And when looking back at those photos, I was using a red light at the time, they still had a feeling of liminality. So what happened? But then I realized my flash was on. So because of that, the red wasn't just a lot softer, but the subtle bit of white light counteracts the aggressiveness of the red. So it isn't concrete, but my working theory is that red can only work if it's a soft, dim red. As for every other color, they can only work under very specific circumstances. But yellow, orange, and green can work anywhere. The results of this one was pretty straightforward. First off, the bunny and bear mask didn't work at all. The Jeff mask actually worked pretty well though. The mix of the long hair that covered some of the face and the black morph suit actually made for some genuinely off-putting photos. I am going to go through some of the other photos I have and attempt to Photoshop some monsters in there just for fun. But as for the question, can a monster be in a liminal photo? I'm going to say yes. If it's in the foreground or background, absolutely not. It takes away way too much focus from the liminal space. But if it's hidden, it does actually add to it. My only note is that it has to be hidden well. So well that most people probably won't even see it. Because as I've said before, liminal spaces should be spaces, areas, or as I said before, memories. And now to the part y'all wanted to see the most, my final photos. But first, I want to say a quick thank you for watching this video. As per usual, it was a blast to make, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And just a little heads up, some of these photos ended up being more creepy than liminal, but I liked how they turned out, so I just added them anyway. I hope you enjoy them, and more importantly, I hope you have a fantastic day.